Hi, my name's April Lugo, and I want to share with you some information about understanding who you are. And in order to do that, I want to kind of share a little bit about my story with you. And back in 2005, I had an awakening. I had a situation happen that required me to reevaluate myself. I came home and found my husband had passed away. And my whole life, I had been somebody. I had been there for everybody. I was somebody's daughter. I was somebody's athlete. I was somebody. And here I was standing at the doorway of a new understanding. Granted, I still have children and I still have grandchildren, but there came that understanding. I had to know who I was. Who was that person staring back at me in the mirror? And it was when I started really getting a better understanding and a fuller understanding of who am I was able to really start processing and putting together pieces of all of that information. And it just began to bloom and it began to open. Well, I want to share a story with you that I heard, and I'm not real sure who I heard it from or where I heard it, but I've heard it a number of times. And it talks about this gentleman who was walking down the road. And he's walking down the road. He comes across this gentleman sitting on his porch with his dog. And he always notices that this dog just keeps whining, and he's, doesn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. But in his mind, he's thinking, why is the dog sitting there whining? What's the big deal? So he goes one time as he's walking by and he approaches the gentleman on the porch and he says to him, sir, what's wrong with your dog? Why does your dog keep whining? Why does he keep, sounding like he's in great misery or great pain or what's going on? And the guy looks at the gentleman walking by and he says, well, my dog here, he's laying on the porch and that's his favorite place to lay on the porch. And he's laid there pretty much his whole life when he and I are sitting on the porch. And there's a board, and that board has a nail sticking out of it. And that nail is just poking him just enough to make him uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough that he's going to make a change. And I heard that story. I thought, how many of us are that dog? How many of us sit in those places of uncomfort, but yet not willing to do that movement required to get us out of that uncomfortable situation, to get us out of our comfort zone, to get us actually willing and ready to move forward and to understand who we are and to go that next step further. And when we understand who we truly are, we actually stop defending our limitations. How many times have you caught yourself saying or thinking, oh, I can't do that because this won't happen, no, but those are defending your limitation type statements. And when you make those, you're not really realizing and not really owning who you are, where you're going, what's your purpose, and what's the deeper meaning of your personal truth, and understanding that and moving into that with a little bit more ease, with a little bit more grace. When you realize that and realize where those limitations are really coming from, then we start being able to put the pieces together. Where did you learn that programming? Where did you pick up that limitation thought? Where did you pick up that I have to do this way? All of that type of thing is programmed. It's program learning that we have gained through upbringing, through schooling, through parents, through many different venues, many different avenues that's come and been a part of our lives. And what we have to do is we have to decide that, we don't necessarily have to be that programming. I can actually be who it is I want to be and who I feel like I should be. I had a couple of people I was visiting with, and the one gentleman said, well, I have to be a dentist. My father was a dentist, his father was a dentist, and his father was a dentist, and he began back in the day. And I just thought, wow, that is really sad, because here we're living our life as somebody somebody that has gone from generation to generation, when in reality his truth was that he had no desire to be that. He had no real voice of wanting to be that. So he was living within the limitation of what his family history was projecting to him and was telling him that he needed to go forward to be, and that he needed to embrace that, and he needed to make a decision to reclaim himself. Why are you who you are? Are you who you dreamt of being when you were a child? Did you dream of being who you are right now? A lot of times the answer to that is no. A lot of times the answer to that is actually, I'm who I am because of how I was brought up, of the environment I was brought up within, and that type of thing. So when we look at it from the perspective of, I'm going to realize who I am. I'm going to own who I am and who I feel I should be. And when I do that, I don't have to fit into a mold. I don't have to fit into who they tell me I have to be, because I have a right to make a decision. I have a right to make a decision who I'm going to be, and I'm going to reclaim that, and I'm going to start developing that, and I'm going to start focusing on that, and I'm going to start becoming that individual. And when you think about it, and you think, wow, that's a pretty big task. Let's use finances for an example. How can I reclaim my finances? How can I reclaim my financial purpose and person that I was born here to be? I don't have to live in this limitations. I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck or borrowing to make it to the end of the month. I don't have to do that, because I have a value and a worth that is greater than that need. I have a value and a worth that moves me so far forward and so far projected out into that reality of who I am that I don't have to play that game. I don't have to be in that situation. So that's reclaiming, and that's no longer defending your limitations. That's looking at the limitations and saying, hold on, wait a minute. I don't have to live within you. I can reclaim myself. I can become myself. I can walk the walk that I was born to walk and fulfill the expectations that are my own, not the expectations that somebody else has projected onto me or taught me or told me I needed to be. So when you think about it, becoming aware of your financial situation and looking at it. So I'm going to give you 3 steps here is, how can I do that? Become aware of it. Become aware of your financial situations. Become aware of what you're doing in life. Am I doing it because it's something I want to do? Am I doing it because it's a passion that makes my heart sing? Or is it just I'm doing it just to go through the motions because I know that's what I'm supposed to do? I can't quit that job because that's the job I have that makes the money to pay my bills, and I'm really not owning up and being my true self. I'm not really being my own true integrity. What can you do? How can you change that? How can you move forward with that? How can you own your true identity? And how can you be your true person? And so when you look at that, and you're going to become aware of your situation, that's the first part. Become aware of it. Is that situation owning you so greatly that you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel? Do you know your value and your worth? Do you know that what you're doing is so impactful, so world-changing, that all you have to do is one little thing, and you could actually change the whole world? Becoming aware of your situation. Then look at what are your behaviors and actions and reactions. What are my behaviors? Why do I act the way I act? Why do I say the things I say? Why do I think that things have to be a certain way when in reality they don't? And we look at those different avenues from that level. Then what you want to do is you want to realize that you're not going to conquer Rome in a day. I know that's a cliche. But I had a student ask me one time the other day when we were in a class, and I made the statement to her. I said, do you know your value and your worth? And she said, well, yeah, I'm worth so and such and much and so and so. And she's an older woman, and she was brought up very on a farm. and different things like that, and expectations and stuff were very rigid, very formed. And when I asked her that, I said, do you realize your value and your worth is to be paid the greatest pay that could ever be paid to you? And I said, what would that number be? And she gave me a number, and I was just kind of like, okay, I'm worth more than that. And she just kind of looked at me and she goes, well, how would I change it? How would I change that belief process? How would I, that's not possible. Yeah, it's great dreams, but how would it be possible? And I asked her, I said, how would you eat an elephant? How would you eat an elephant? Look at every one of those problems, every one of those things, every one of those programmings, every one of those situations as your own personal big elephant. How would you eat it? You'd eat it one bite at a time. How do we make our change? One bite at a time, one situation at a time. When we're aware of that situation, we can change it. When we're aware of where we're going in life, we can change it. And when we grasp that we don't have to fit the mold and be what somebody else wants us to be, when we can embrace the truth that's within ourselves and we can be ourselves, we can then see our potential. We can then see where we're going. What is it we have to offer? What is it about me that has something so fabulous to offer that other people are going to be affected, and I can make a difference in the world, and I can be my true authentic self. I can truly be who I came here to be. And when we realize that the programming has gone a little bit wrong, and we realize that there's been a big catastrophe, there's been an error in our program, it's now time to reprogram. It's now time to look at the truth of, who am I? Why was I born? What is my purpose? What is my goal? What makes my heart sing? What brings that passion? What brings that vibrancy forward for me? Maybe it's a different job. Maybe it's looking at life from a different angle. That's not to say you're going to walk out on your family or anything like that, but it's getting that realization that you were born to do something great. You were born to be something great, not necessarily fitting into the mold of what our parents in their greatest possibilities raised us to try to encourage us and try to help us to become, but to help us be who we are, and not necessarily the great athlete that our mother or our father dreamt of being their whole life and they couldn't have done, so they're trying to do it through us, and we absolutely hate sports. I'll never forget the time I took my daughter to play t-ball. I played sports. I was sports. I love sports. And when I get out on a field, I come alive. I just feel every inch of that whatever sport I'm doing. And I take my daughter, who is 5, to go play sports. I could not get her to put her sneakers on, so there she is in her little high heel sandals. And she's standing there at the t-ball, and she has the bat, and the ball is sitting on the little tee. And she says, "You can't make me hit it." And she was right. We couldn't make her hit it. We couldn't make her play. We couldn't make her something she wasn't. And that's where it's so important to realize, as parents, we might be trying to help them and bring them up in the best that we can. But now that they're adults, and now that we're adults, and we realize we have unlimited potentials. Our potentials are only as limited as we make them. Our potentials are endless, and we can do and we can be whoever it is we want to be. We don't have to fit into a mold. We don't have to be who we've been prescribed to be and been taught to be, because we really are here to be our own individuals, and we just need to learn who that is. We just need to get a hold of that. We just need to kind of unlock that and quit defending our limitations. Quit defending that I can't leave that job because it pays my bills. Well, if you step into the truth of who you are and you begin looking at other opportunities and potentials, you know what? They're going to present themselves. They're going to give you a way of seeing it. They're going to give you a truth. They're going to give you an opportunity to move forward and to be who it is that you've been created to be. And then you can leave that job and maybe move into something that makes your heart sing. Maybe you've always wanted to go on a great adventure, but you've always been afraid to do it. do it. Take a hold of that. Quit defending the limitations and live within an environment of unlimited potential. Grasp who it is that you are. Become who it is that you are. Embrace who it is that you are and honor yourself within that. And when you do, you're going to find yourself being able to move blocks, plow through those barriers that have held you back. Take away those limitations. Take away those unbelieving, limiting opportunities and make them living opportunities. Make them expansive and growing, beautiful realities. And when you do that, you're going to then begin to understand who you are. And you're going to begin to understand a little bit more of what this purpose is about. What is this thing called life? Why am I here? Finding your goals, finding your passion, finding your mission. I like to call it opening the door to your mission statement and allowing it to just come forward and be you and have your voice and have your opportunities to express it. I'm going to share another video with you. And when I share that video next week, it's going to be about unlocking those limited potentials, unlocking those so that they can become limitless, so that you can move forward through that and you can stand in the power of who you are and really realize that when you are holding yourself back and you're being someone else, you're actually cheating yourself. You're cheating the world. You're cheating everybody and everything around you. So we're going to talk about in the next video how to unlock those limitations and how to unlock that so that you can break forward, so you can have your life sing, so you can find your passion. If you'd like to know a little bit more about me, you can go to my website, which is aprillugo.com. It's APRILLUGO.com. And you can also go to aprillugopHD.com. One site is going to give you a little bit of information about some of the stuff we're offering, and the other site is going to give you a little bit more about working one-on-one and how we can actually set up some mentoring and some growing and really help you move through that and reclaim and be excited about life and be excited about who you are, because you're the most amazing person that walks the face of the earth. And that voice is yours, and you have the right to move forward without the limitations. You have the right to be you. You have the right to honor who you are. So I want to invite you to go to the websites, look at them. I also, if you send me an email to aprillugopHD@yahoo.com, I'll be happy to send you a couple links to some of the other video teachings that we have. And also, if you email me, I'll put you on the email receiving list of being able to receive more of these videos and more of these teachings. I also offer the Tuesday from the Deck, which is just a quick little message of encouragement for the week, and that'll get you on that email list so you can receive those bits of information so that you can start owning yourself, so you can start walking your life. It's aprillugopHD@yahoo.com. Until the next video, go forward and remove those barriers and bust through those barriers and find your unlimited limitations are gone.